Going out for a little hike in the trail today. I'm gonna go make myself a coffee. The plan was to camp, but we've got, I don't want to sound like a wuss, but we got 20 to 40 millimeters of rain coming. And I don't want to say I couldn't do it. I'm telling you, I don't want to do it. I'm good at forcing myself to do things I don't want to do. But getting soaking wet in the wintertime, or I guess early spring, is not my idea of a good time. When I get to where I'm going to go, I'm going to fire up the Jetboil and have myself my last coffee of the day. I am down to 3 coffees a day now. So, last coffee of the day. Have a little chit chat about people that live in a fantasy. So we'll cover that in a couple minutes. Didn't go very far off the trail. Well, actually the trail's about 15 feet away from me, but this is as good a spot as any to make a coffee. So bear with me. Critical Goods. Loving this pack, by the way. All right, get the stove out, and then let's move this down just a little bit if we can. There we go. Oh, you don't have to see my ugly face so much. I think it's time that we have a little discussion about fantasy versus reality. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with fantasy. Just make sure you know it's fantasy and it's not real. So what I'm going to talk about is a little bit on the thought-provoking side, and that's what it's meant to do. Gotta get myself a little spot here. Actually, I gotta get the burner out. Oh, there it is. Don't need that in there. Snow's nice and packy though. Don't need the base. Get this going here. What's the fantasy we're going to talk about? Bugging out. It is a good conversation to have. Oh. Mr. Jetboil's not lighting here. What's going on? There we go. Get that going good. Get my cup out here. I don't like drinking out of the Jetboil because of the neoprene. It's kind of gross. All right. The fantasy of bugging out. So if you want to take this serious, there might be a time to bug out. Now, where we live in a very tight community. Most people know everybody. Even with the new people that come in, they're generally pretty friendly, and the community pulls together, which is good. Canadians tend to be like that. Lately, it's not like that. We are so twisted and divided. I don't know what would happen if something really bad happened. Oh, jeez, it's warm here. So, would a bug out ever have to happen in an emergency, say forest fire or a gas leak, or I'm in an area that wouldn't flood, so I don't have to worry about that. But, well, if it floods here, it's bad for everybody else. So the chances are very, very slim. But people have this plan to take off out in the woods and go and thrive. survive and thrive. Actually, there's a mosquito right here. How cool is that? It's still snowing and he's in my hand. So break out a pencil, piece of paper, and ask yourself this. Lots of people have the gear. Lots of people have all the cool gadgets, energy packs and all this stuff. But what do you have for a skill set? Do you have even basic first aid? So put that one first. First aid. Do you have basic first aid? Basic. Okay. Are you like me that's dependent on medication? What will happen to me if I don't take my medication? Well, I won't die from not taking my medication, but there's a high chance of me having a seizure. So if I'm doing something strenuous, trying to survive, trapping fish or whatever it takes, there's a high chance that I could drown. What if I'm going up a hill and I have a seizure and I fall? Big things to look at. Your vehicle, the bug out vehicle fantasy. What's the range of your vehicle? I know I love my Tundra, but I've got 400 kilometers and that thing's out of gas. So it could realistically be home base, I guess, but that's the other one. Communication skills. What do you have for communication skills? A lot of people want to go out and be alone, or they dream about it, but they never actually do it. The longest I've ever done is 7 days by myself. And that was 7 days ultralight, but in the summer. So I did not bring water. I brought emergency food that I didn't have to use. I was able to actually catch and cook what I needed for those 7 days. I didn't have to dip into my supply. What's your limit? Where have you been? Like 3 to 5 days is pretty easy. 7 days you start to feel it. Just being outside of shelter, a home shelter, you will start to definitely feel it. Sun buggered, actually replace buggered for the F word, but anyways, that's what we call it. Communication. What I mean by, I see all these people with the little radios, and I am a total communications knob when it comes to radios, and the only time I've actually used radios is on the lake for fishing when we're in the kayaks, just to keep in touch with everyone. My coffee's almost ready. A good friend of mine has been schooling me on communication because that was his job, and I have learned that the best radios that I have only work to about 460 meters out of sight. And that's in the winter time in pine trees. So once the leaves get up there, to my understanding, the leaves will block a lot of stuff. So communications, number one, you can be using them for listening, but you're also giving your position away if it's that thing. But I don't want to get into the SHTF end of the world stuff. Let's just use that as an emergency. Physical fitness. How far can you go per day safely? Everybody can push themselves, but once you're in a certain situation, most of the times everything has to be slow motion. Absolutely slow motion. Zero risk, or minimalizing risk, is priority number one. Oh, and my coffee's done. So, with that in mind, how fit are you? That's question number, I don't know. I hope you're writing it down. Just making my coffee here. There we go. Next one. Navigational skills. It is far too easy to rely on technology like this idiot box or a handheld GPS to use for navigation. How is your map and compass skills? Ooh, that's hot. I'll set that one in the snow a little bit. How are your navigation skills? Can you navigate? Do you have maps of your area? Do you have a place that you think you would go? Is that a place that looks ideal that other people would go to? Other people's not a bad thing, as long as you know who they are. But I think you should have a network and a plan. Do you have a plan? Years ago, when I was much younger and much more gullible, I had the world-ending event that was coming up. So I was actually working out of town, so I know I could have made it home. It was about a 3-hour drive, so I could definitely make it home. I had a plan, and my ex-wife had a plan. Her plan was in an envelope to what happened if that was the case, and that plan was she opens it in case of an emergency with directions on how to go and how to navigate. Looking back, I probably should have dry runned it a few times. Did dry runs to see how it could be. It was all, again, that was based on one of the many times the world was supposed to end. But yet it did not. Did you have a plan in place? The next one really comes down to, how is your mental health? Can you actually walk away from your tablet, your phone, your Netflix, your YouTube, which is ironic because this is going to go on YouTube, and be okay? What happens if you wake up in the morning because the power's out, but the TV doesn't work, your phone doesn't work, your GPS doesn't work because of a natural event, solar flare? Let's just use solar flare. What are you going to do? You can't communicate with your family that might be on the other side of the country, in the same town. What are you going to do? Are they prepared? Is it your problem if they're prepared? It's easy to come across as a nut job as soon as you mention skills or being prepared. Now, my house is very basic, but I do eat the same food over and over and over and over and over again. So it is really easy to stock up, 2 weeks to 3 months worth of food in the house at any given times. If you can afford groceries these days, but that's another topic. Do you have the skills to track? Do you have the ability to butcher and process fish, meat, fowl? I know the one thing that I'm lacking on, and I hope there's someone out there who can help me with, is edible plants. I know the basic ones, but some of those are absolutely disgusting, and I might consider dying before eating some of those horrible things. Mushrooms, do you know which ones you can pick? What time of the year you can pick them? It's a whole bunch of things. So I hope this is just a little bit of a wake-up call. Not to say don't train. Actually, it means train and test. Let people know that you're interested in it, and work on getting a group together and have a plan to go somewhere. I actually have a plan, and then my plan has a backup plan, and that backup plan has another backup plan, and et cetera. But I do know where I would go if I had to leave my house. But my house is the last thing I'm going to leave, unless I'm absolutely forced to. So anyways, hope you enjoy that. Question yourself, and if anyone wants to come out and try to survive, hit me up. We're always good to go. And yeah, off to finish this coffee off, and then I'm going to finish my hike and head home and post this up. Hope you enjoy. The Forest Monk is out. all packed up, all cleaned up, ready to bugger off. One interesting thing, I guess this will be a public service announcement number 2 for those wannabe that want to get ready. Do you smoke, vape, or drink on a regular basis? What happens if you run out? Cheers. One more. This is very important because I know this is very true for a lot of newbie people. If you have a tent and you've never set it up, practice, because I guarantee you it's not going to go back in the bag the way you want it to.